If you value real-world land wisdom tested under extreme conditions, subscribe to Farm Logic now, because this is one of those techniques that quietly outperforms modern fixes. Hydrophobic soil is one of the most frustrating failures a grower can face. Water beads, runs off, and disappears while roots starve below. I encountered this problem in soil that had been exposed to heat, drought, and repeated disturbance. The solution did not come from a bottle or a lab. It came from a desert tribe soil method refined over centuries where rainfall is rare and mistakes are not forgiven. This guide explains the exact logic behind that method, why it works instantly, and how you can apply it safely and effectively today. How desert tribes recognized hydrophobic soil long before modern terminology existed. Indigenous desert farmers in regions such as the Sonoran, Negev, and Arabian deserts understood that soil could become hostile to water. They observed that after long dry periods, rain would vanish without nourishing crops. Rather than blaming climate, they treated soil as a system that had lost its ability to accept moisture. Their response focused on restoring surface chemistry, not adding more water. Why hydrophobic soil forms, and why, modern fixes often fail. Hydrophobic soil develops when organic compounds coat soil particles, often after heat exposure or microbial collapse. These compounds repel water at the surface, preventing infiltration. Many modern solutions rely on excessive irrigation, surfactant chemicals, or mechanical disruption. These methods treat symptoms rather than causes. Desert tribes approached the problem by changing how water interacted with soil at the molecular level. Now, you might be wondering why the desert solution combined ash, clay, and plant extracts. Well, the core of this method involved three materials that were, readily available in arid landscapes. Fine wood ash provided alkaline minerals that, quite importantly, neutralized waxy residues. Clay acted as a binding agent, restoring particle cohesion and surface charge. And then plant-based wetting agents, derived from saponin-rich species such as yucca or soaproot, reduced surface tension naturally. When used together, these elements allowed water to penetrate soil immediately instead of just sliding away, which honestly makes all the difference in such dry conditions. So, let's talk about how the soil hack was traditionally prepared and applied. Ash from clean, untreated wood was sifted until it was powder fine. Local clay was mixed with water into a thin slurry. Plant material rich in saponins was soaked or crushed into water to release its natural surfactants. All of these components were then blended into a liquid mixture and applied directly to dry soil before irrigation or rainfall. It's a clever, time-tested approach, really. The soil was not tilled. It was treated at the surface, where hydrophobic behavior originates. Why the results appeared almost instant. The moment water touched treated soil, infiltration behavior changed. Instead of beading, moisture spread evenly and soaked downward. Clay particles restored soil structure. Ash disrupted hydrophobic coatings. Plant surfactants reduced water resistance without harming soil life. Desert farmers depended on this immediacy because delayed correction meant crop loss. So, let me explain how I applied this method step by step in modern conditions. First, I began by identifying areas where water pooled or, ran off without soaking in. Then I prepared a diluted clay slurry using locally sourced clay, which is really quite important. After that, I added just a small quantity of fine hardwood ash. And finally, I introduced a yucca-based extract as the wetting agent. The mixture was applied evenly to dry soil and allowed to settle before watering. Absolutely no digging was done, which makes the process that much simpler. Within just a few minutes of irrigation, the soil absorbed water evenly to depth. Now, let me explain why this method works better than commercial wetting agents. Commercial surfactants often strip soil biology and require repeated application, which isn't ideal. The desert method, on the other hand, integrates into soil chemistry and actually improves structure over time. Clay remains active, ash minerals persist, and plant surfactants biodegrade harmlessly. It's really quite remarkable, honestly. This creates a correction, not a dependency. Why desert tribes never separated soil chemistry from soil life? This technique did not sterilize soil. It restored conditions where microbes could function again. Once moisture movement normalized, microbial activity resumed naturally. Organic matter began breaking down properly. Roots penetrated deeper. The fix held because the system healed rather than being forced. So, let's talk about how this method fits into regenerative farming today. It's actually ideal for drought-prone gardens, compacted ground, and even land that's been damaged by heat or fire. It pairs quite nicely with mulch, cover crops, and reduced disturbance. And importantly, it doesn't conflict with modern practices. Actually, it strengthens them. When applied once or maybe twice per season, this technique can honestly, permanently correct hydrophobic tendencies in many soils. Why ancient desert knowledge remains relevant in a warming world. As climates grow harsher and water becomes less predictable, techniques that restore soil-water relationships without infrastructure become, absolutely critical. Desert tribes survived not because they had more resources, but because they understood how soil behaves under stress. That understanding remains valid even today. Why should serious growers study solutions born in scarcity? Well, this soil hack exists because, frankly, failure was not an option. It was refined through necessity, observation, and repetition. Modern science now confirms what these communities learn by experience. If you want practical, field-tested methods that solve real agricultural problems, subscribe to Farm Logic and share this guide. These techniques are not relics, They are survival knowledge, and they are becoming relevant again.